where we will and won't be playing between these teams. Obey will ban first. As you can see at the bottom, both Clubhouse and Consulate are blocked out. So we should have a new map here, as it looks like it's going to be between Oregon and Border, and it's going to be Border between these two teams.
Okay, so the ban of Villa makes a lot of sense. C9 did go on to Villa against Noble. They had a draw, but it was a hard-fought one. Bank as well. Bank was the place where we saw Obey play against Cloud9 previously, and we talked about that earlier. That was a 6-2 in Cloud9's favor on Bank, so obviously Obey not wanting to go back there. The rest of these bins also falling into line. Coastline, a map that Cloud9 actually hasn't played in the regular season just yet. Oregon is actually in the same pool, but Oregon is a map that Obey has proven themselves to be pretty comfortable on. In fact, it's the only place that they've managed to get a win in the regular season. So, all logical bans, not any surprises whatsoever.
Yeah. So, Border, the matchup between these two teams. Obviously, this community vote happened before we knew what map was going to be played on. I would imagine that this will probably be somewhat close, and wow, is it ever. 48, 43, and 9%.
Wow, guys. All right. No, you're absolutely right. It makes sense. It was Cloud9 has been looking better, but Obey has been looking better as well, just by their gameplay. While they haven't been having the best record, they have been playing well. So, yeah, I definitely agree with this.
Overall, what should be a pretty close match. You know, I don't think a lot of people expected SK and Mouse to be as close as it was, especially if the community vote is any indication. Could we be pretty funny if we find ourselves here with this map being a blowout one side or the other, because that seems to be the way that this community vote typically works between these two teams. So, hey, there you have it. As well, worth noting, you saw that Cloud9 was competing in the qualifiers for the U.S. Nationals just a couple days ago. Foxay has apparently secured a visa and is competing in America. So that's not just a boon to the team, but also being able to compete with the rest of the team in U.S. Nationals. Obey and Cloud9 both hoping to possibly go far into the Nationals and maybe get one of the spots at LAN. So far, it's just Noble and Space Station Gaming as the two teams that we'll be seeing sometime in the fall.
So Obey hasn't actually played Border in the regular season just yet. Cloud9 has, but it was week 1 against Space Station, and they got 6-0'd. Now, that was so long ago, it's almost not worth bringing up, because that was pre-roster change. It was old C9. They just didn't look like a real team at that point, to be honest. They looked like, just a couple random players playing together. And since then, they've developed and blossomed into a much stronger force. So there isn't really a lot to pull out of the regular season for this map. And going into it, that leaves a little bit, I guess, up to speculation. And I'm actually kind of happy about that, because it's always nice to see two teams that are so close to each other, not only in the standings, but also in the skill level. And they both seem to be on the upswing, kind of going into this match with a little bit of left in the air.
Yeah. So, between these two teams, a couple things that I'm going to be looking for today as we head into this match in particular. On Cloud9, a lot of times they live and die off of their roam. This was credited to them over their course of winning DreamHack Montreal, which we're going to reference a lot just simply because it's a pretty big moment for Cloud9, and it's probably the best that we've seen them ever compete and the most that we've seen them compete in a short period of time, as they didn't exactly have the best results at both Valencia as well as Austin, and prior to both of those, not the best results in Pro League either. But in DreamHack Montreal, Cloud9 tend to live and die off of that roam, as I said. Very similar to the way that NIP played. Their anchor play was not quite their strong suit, but as the event progressed, the anchor play and the support play of Cloud9 improved. Go back to our Mouse C9 matchup last week, and it was back to the same old story with their anchor play. Not really picking up the slack where they need to. Laxing and Mark dying a bit too early on defense and getting picked up early. It really did not work out all that well for them. So, taking a look at the way that both Retro as well as Goddess are going to play, it's going to be really important that we see them play well together, because you can't just rely on two people for C9. As for Obey, we're going to need to continue to see that cohesive play, as I mentioned. Having Skies work well with the rest of the team. All that said, we're going to toss to a short break before we get into this matchup, and we'll see you in a couple minutes.
Stylish on the outside, savage on the inside. Legion by Lenovo.
Welcome back, everybody, to North America Week number 9, or Playday number 9. I'm Intero. This is Kickstar. We've got Obey versus Cloud9 in Week 9, ready to fire up and go on Border. And we spent quite a bit of time before heading to a break talking about the things to watch for both of these teams. Just to finish up on what we said about Obey, the big things for Obey: consistency, coordination, and cohesion. If I can alliterate for you for just a second. We'll head to Border, and we'll see what these two teams are going to be able to bring to the table. Will Obey continue to play better than they did through the first half and surprise a lot of people? Or will Cloud9 be able to bounce back after a disappointing week in week number 8 after winning the DreamHack Montreal title? We'll find out. First ban is going to go to Cloud9, and they are going to say, "So long, Ying."
Ying, a very powerful attacker, and on a map like Border, it's definitely prudent to get rid of her, especially considering we have seen Obey do some pretty amazing things with Ying in the past. Lots of time being taken here. Liberties afforded, definitely capitalized upon by Obey, as they're still pondering what they want to actually ban out. Possibly just trying to psych out their opponent. Usually these things are predetermined, and as the Lion ban comes out, it reinforces that thought process, given that he is very much a permanent ban for most teams. In fact, we haven't seen a lot of matches without him being banned in recent history. Mira also going to go, so no surprise there. No big crazy moves being made thus far. Final ban for Cloud9 as they take out a defender.
As you said, these are usually predetermined. I'm surprised whenever teams take a while to come into this and settle in on a ban, especially when teams usually have the time in the setup of a game to really flesh out where their bans are going to be. But for those watching without audio, or without video, if you're watching without audio, then I guess you know. Also, you can't hear what I'm saying right now, which is probably good.
Let's all laugh at the people watching without audio who don't know what we're saying right now.
Don't laugh at people without audio that aren't watching. What if they don't have
sorry,
speakers
you're right.
or earbuds or headphones?
Nope,
Ying
that's
and
right,
Valkyrie
yep.
banned for Cloud9, and then for Obey, it's Lion and Mira. You wouldn't know this if you were watching without audio. You have visual for it. But if you're watching without video, then there you go. Now you know.
Do people watch Pro League without video?
Yeah, there are people who do. People who might be on. I've had a number of people tell me that they'll put it on when they're driving, or they'll put it on when they're doing things around the house, and they rely on us to be able to talk about what's happening and be able to help them visualize exactly what you see on the screen, which is why accurate play-by-play is so integral for those people that can't possibly be watching it. So
Ventilation as the first site here on Border. No big surprise. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just the secondary bomb site for most teams, but made primary by maybe just trying to force their opponents into some operator selection that's a little bit different. I mean, we do have a Thermite being brought here. Thermite's still very useful here, but he's not as useful as he would be on the top floor. Of course, if you're coming from office or a wall, Thermite is always going to be a help, whereas on the bottom floor, you're pretty much locked into that Teller's push if you want Thermite to assist you. Now, of course, it's also going to be a lot of emphasis put on taking the top floor before you actually start pressuring into ventilation, as is typical on an armory push. And you can see because of that, the defenders have placed 3 roamers on that top floor, and they will be ready to deny the push once it comes from Obey. Very aggressive into east stairs from a man. He is wasting no time. I really like this. Also, Bosco has droned out an opponent, and Maman will get the kill through the wall. An easy start for Obey. Laxing caught off guard.
that is a puzzling place to be with a soft wall right there. I have to say that the Vigil playing in that position is a bit of a mistake, but at the same time, Laxing could have possibly had the cloaking ability from his Vigil available to him. But didn't have it on at that time as he was able to get live pink. Great coordination from Obey. I think there's a lot of people who are rooting for Obey to do well. There's a lot of likable characters on that team. And they just haven't been able to really find, I think, the potential or the success that a lot of people think they have and that potential that the team has. That's a very good start. And coordination, like I said, is one of the 3 C's that I think they need to really focus on heading into this matchup.
Coordination, communication, confidence?
Cohesion.
Cohesion. I didn't get the third one. Confidence is important too, though.
Oh, absolutely.
My man also going to continue his push onto Archives. You can see that Foxay is going to stay inside of Archives, but actually choose to drop down. Probably the right call. Mark will be in Armory, and he has a much more defensible position here. He also is not able to drop, as it was not opened up earlier in the round, though hopefully there is a defender who can open the drop down, allowing for Mark to retreat when he needs to. At least for now, though, he's going to play all the way back in Arsenal and be marked out by Bosco, who's been doing some amazingly adept drone work so far in this round, allowing my man to be as aggressive as he has.
And Maman is somebody who just has exceptional decision-making skills, as has been credited by other players in this league. And when he's on, he's really on. The biggest issue that Maman typically has is consistency. There are a lot of games where he will disappear. Now, whether that's his peers here as Mark takes out Bosco, a great pre-fire, but at least Skies is there to tag in and be able to avenge his teammate. Maman is still up top, too. So this has been thwarting C9, as they've got complete top control going against Cloud9. Retro working up the main front stairs. He'll head back down and possibly try to cover somebody pushing in through Workshop, holding an angle through the pipes, looking all the way towards East Lobby. Foxay inside of Customs, not too far from Retro, just a stone's throw from the site. Execute will need to go down, as there you have it. Bathroom's going to get broken open. Skies will pick up another kill. Benji just sprints right into Goddess, and she'll tear through one, but get downed. It's a 2v1. Foxay last man for C9, very low on HP, trying to get back to site, but it will be a try in vain as Maman picks up yet another kill on this round, starting things off as well as ending them. Almost evaded there by the Bandit, but not quite fast enough. First round goes towards Obey.
Defense from C9 just started off really poor, with Laxing being eliminated for free, basically, inside of offices. That was the main defense of the office, just gone. And then from there, it was an easy task for Obey to clear into Archives and then later Arsenal. Now, thanks to the great droning of Bosco, my man was able to do all of this work almost single-handedly. And he did have support from his teammates, but it wasn't crazily necessary. Once they got to Arsenal, there was a bit of a fight that my man was not involved with. But still, the point being, most of the top floor was taken by 2 people from Obey. And the backup was readily available as well when it was necessary. So I love the cohesion, as you put it, that Obey had in that round. It really did shine through. Cloud9 now choosing to go to the Armory, not going to try and mix things up, as, I mean, you can't at this point. It's been broadcasted what your intentions are, and you're going to need to go to the site that you think you have the best chance at winning in. And that, of course, will be the Armory, or Arsenal, as some people refer to it as.
There's a lot of calls in this game that are not only regional, but also shorthand, because some of the calls, especially statuary, when you're in the thick of it, statuary is not exactly a call out that's going to quite easily roll out of your tongue in time.
It's frickin' statue, man.
So it's call it statue. It's very easy, and there's half wall, which is a lot of teams will call bunker inside of border, and focusing on other calls here, vents instead of ventilation, workshop, etc. You got the position here in the hallway, just to the left of Benji, that's called 90, for example, which is, I guess, main hallway is technically its call out in the game. So if you're ever wondering what the shorthand is for a lot of these, well, you'll usually hear us say it.
Yeah, and there's just so many variations too. Sometimes 90 will be called L,
Yes.
There's a great abundance, and it can get confusing, but it's something that you learn over time. Now, Obey starting to set up for a push onto the A wall into Armory. My man Of course, playing Zofia will be in a position to deny any potential Bandit batteries. Of course, there are none right now, as Bandit is not being played by C9, but he was in a position to do so if it was necessary. Skies with a drop, which is unfortunate for the attackers of Obey, and Cloud9 have to be happy about that. Now they know they have the advantage without having to put in much work for it at all. Laxing an overheal, not really sure why. Skies will actually make it back, so that is fantastic for us. And he'll be able to play in the next round. However, he's still gone for this one. Nobody playing by half wall, and Obey is just sizing up their choices here. They don't necessarily need to push this. They have very efficiently made this take happen, and they still have a minute left.
Foxay from below inside of Customs will spot 2 members of Obey and can act upon it when one of them is immobilized for long enough to use that Nitro Cell that Pulse does indeed have in his hands. The man taking out one of the Evil Eyes situated on that half all over by Bunker, and this could be a juicy triple play as, once again, Foxay spots 3 on that heartbeat sensor. Goddess will be able to pick off one of them, but will be traded off by Adam as Foxay still down below will continue to do that recon work for his team. We're about to be in the cut and thrust of the execute as 30 seconds in. The Capitao smokes will go off and will be answered by one of Retro's toxic babes. Fire Arrow will go down in between Sandwich. That'll punish Laxing, force him to move. He'll lose a tiny bit of his health, but not that much. Meanwhile, Mark here on a flank. This is a great position. The Jaeger's patience could be hugely rewarded, but no, he's going to see the Capitao. Goes for the Thermite. The Thermite just walking right in. Mark, not quite fast enough, will pick up 2 kills as Laxing gets taken out by Adam, but it doesn't really matter. The Jaeger, as his German name would imply, the Hunter. C9, whether because of that unfortunate disconnect from Skies or not, will still be gifted that one possible kill, quote unquote, and will now tie it up.
I don't usually like to weigh in on disconnects like that, but I have to say that it was due to the disconnect there. It was clearly due to the disconnect there. What happened in that round? Well, they died to a Jaeger coming up on their flank. What do they need to prevent that flank? Somebody on flank watch. What do they need in order to have somebody on flank watch? One more warm body to watch the flank. Oh, but Skies isn't there. Unfortunate. Truly unfortunate. It happens. It happens, but could it change the outcome of the round? Unfortunate. Now, that was a decent attack, but it was also properly stalled by Cloud9. So as much as the flank was a hard, counter to Obey's attack, Cloud9 also had a really solid anchor game going on there. The gas canisters were perfectly placed in response to Benji's perfectly placed Capitao bolts, and the stall action was beautifully coordinated by Cloud9. So I feel like the outcome could have been different, as much as I'm sure many other people do, but also you cannot take that round away from Cloud9. They did play that very well.
Absolutely. And it's easy to do when you don't have to worry about somebody being committed to flank watch in particular, or somebody having to worry about, possibly pushing from a different angle or trying to take on engagements in roamers. Skies did disconnect at a part in the round where they could have still been doing, roam clearing. So.
Well, yeah, they also could have just put anybody else on flank watch, to be fair. But
right.
I feel like they wouldn't have had the same pushing power.
Yeah, then you deprive yourself of one person who is needed for your push on the site, right? So that's obviously a big issue.
Now, Obey, after that unfortunate round, will be going to attack the ventilation yet again. Now, they were successful last time they attacked this site, and it was very much thanks to the extremely efficient and ruthless clear of the roamers upstairs. This round does not seem to be going the same way. I don't think Obey is focused on clearing that top 4 right this minute. Instead, they seem to be maybe setting themselves up for a B push, a very shallow B push. It's entirely achievable, but C9 also has 3 players above B right now, and you can see the rest of Obey is trying to weed those guys out.
Yeah, and my man just positioned here on this B bomb to possibly try and cut somebody off if they want to go from workshop to ventilations, but now he himself is moving and is going to maybe try to get a concussive blast up top, which is where you can see Foxay and Mark positioned. And that's Mark playing on the Clash as well.
Probably just trying to hit the Clash shield to try and force Mark back a little bit. Just disorient him. Retro will shut down my man, peeking from the server stack. Nobody was covering that aggression from Zofia. Very dangerous action from a man to be taking. Skies, beautiful shot. On to Retro, and the castle will go down. It's nice and even still. Anyone's ball game, but it's starting to run low on time for Obey. They need to take this last minute and do something with it.
Yeah, and especially with the Clash in play, that's going to be very tough. You lose Zofia, probably your best bet other than the Capitao to hard engage the Clash, who's still waiting. That's a missed smoke, but Bosco's still going to hang on. He's going to get zapped from an Evil Eye. He does have a sledgehammer in his hands. He could possibly take care of it, but all the while, 3v3 as Foxay manages to get one. Goddess here goes for a spray through the wall. Cannot get the diffuser down. Misses enough shots. And Bosco walks away with a tiny bit of HP as Benji is there to take out Goddess. This was a round that for C9 looked to be winnable, but a couple very small mistakes, including one large mistake, can make all the difference. Laxing and Skies, former teammates, engaged in a firefight against one another, the Vigil and the IQ. Around the metal detectors, and it'll be Laxing winning that, pulling out the SMG-12 and finishing off Skies. Still 2v2 and Foxay here to take out Bosco. It's going to leave Benji. This is very winnable for C9 now. A round that looked to be easy for Obey is swung in the other direction, though Benji will finish off Foxay, and it's all up to Laxing. Where is the Vigil going to be? We're almost out of time, and there you go. Even though Laxing sprints out, gets the knife, but the Claymore from Skies. Skies will get the last laugh. But doesn't really matter because, look at that. Claymore blows up, and Obey just simply need to hang on, and they'll take it. 2-1.
So Obey have been completely successful every time they go to ventilation, and it looks like Cloud9's going to go back to vent once more, as they don't really have a whole lot of other great options. I mean, we're talking about either ventilation or you go to customs, or you roll the dice and go to tellers, which is nobody wants to go to tellers. So it makes sense that we're going to be going back to ventilation here for Cloud9, which gives, I think, a large edge to Obey. They seem to have lost that round many times over, but they didn't for whatever reason. A lot of, as you talked about, a lot of mistakes made by Cloud9. One most notable, of course, was Goddess's lack of commitment to killing the planting sledge inside of B. I feel like that was a moment where you could have very easily just used the rotation to peek, or any other many options available to her, but unfortunately was not to be. Either way, Obey up 2-1, and judging by the site selection, they might very well make this a 3-1 lead in their favor. Now, of course, if they do get to that 3-1 lead on this third round of ventilation, then Cloud9 will be allowed to go back to Armory for their final defense, and that would very likely result in a 3-2 split. It's still in favor of Obey, but salvageable for C9.
Yeah. So once again, the Clash is going to come out for Cloud9. Not the band, but the operator. And I'm interested to see what Cloud9 can do differently this time. As you denoted earlier on, we're back down on ventilation and workshop. So, drone going up to spot the bandit of Foxy. He'll be playing up top, likely joined by Mark again. I don't expect that to be any different this time around between the two players. It did look like it was able to stop Obey's momentum by quite a bit, but on the site execute was where Cloud9 lacked the most. And even though Benji messed up on the smoke, it was pretty, I think, telling of Cloud9's defense that Obey was still able to get that plant down as Goddess missed a lot of those shots through that soft wall.
Unfortunate.
Getting good coverage from Benji. Bosco's just going to absolutely blow open this soft wall. It's going to lead in towards offices. You've got Mark playing up there. And once again, he's going to be joined by Laxing, though, not Foxay. Foxay playing over by Armory Wall. So Laxing and Mark over by Archives. One bandit battery down to stop the exothermic charge of Adam from going off unless it gets cleared out. Of course, there is there's no Thatcher available for Obey. The only real main Thatcher player that typically is in this game is Laxing. Tends to play that operator a lot on attack, but of course on defense this time around. It's a bevy of drones on Mark, finding him over by the metal detectors towards the small office, but there has yet to be a concerted push from Obey to try and flush him out and take care of the Clash.
Still love the beauty of watching Obey's drone game. They are really on top of gathering information on their opponents. Unfortunately, they don't have any drones in play right now. As you can see, Cloud9 have been doing pretty well at shutting those drones down, so there is counterplay in the drone game. 1 minute left, and Obey still has yet to take the top floor. They are also going to lose Maman to a C4 from below, so well played Fox A. Good coordination there for the roamers. Clash is still in play as well. Mark able to do a lot of damage, but he will be shut down by Benji as Mark takes his shield away from his face. Nice push from Benji as well, coming into Arsenal, catching the Clash off guard. It seems the rest of the defenders upstairs have decided to default to the site. Probably the right call in this situation with only 30 seconds left.
And Mark's down in the bathroom as Bosco has control from above, looking at that soft wall in towards the bathroom. Adam is going to have to go for that exothermic charge with just about 20 seconds on the clock. 4v4, still having the door solid with that castle barricade inside a bathroom means that he could possibly get pushed from below and get shot at. He'll just toss 2 of those stun grenades in, but would you look at that? On the other side of the wall, Laxing playing the showers. Goddess will gun down Benji after they've taken out Laxing. Control for Obey in back of sight. Plant going down into Workshop. But Foxay is there! This is a double kill for Foxay, and he'll win the round. The Bandit unchecked. And that is huge and momentous for C9 to send us back to a tie and a successful defense of Workshop. Finally for Cloud9.
Beautiful play there from Fox A, and he was lurking hardcore in that round. He came up the main stairs while nobody from Obey was paying attention to it, and then managed to either work his way back down the main stairs and through the main hallway, or up the main stairs, through the main hallway upstairs, and then drop down in open area. Either way, no matter what, he came from behind at the perfect moment. His timing impeccable, and managed to clutch the round. That was surely to be an Obey round if they had been able to get the diffuser down, but it just did not happen. Unfortunate for Obey, very fortunate for Cloud9, and all thanks to Foxay's beautiful timing. And we will see this go to an Armory defense next, a site that Cloud9 has yet to fail on, meaning that the tides of fate have turned, and it seems Cloud9 will be ending this half in the advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, Armory only defended once, to be fair. But as you said, they haven't failed on it. They had that one defense that, if you remember, they were aided by the disconnect from Skies. As I think it's pretty, I think it's pretty indisputable that that was a pretty big addition to their defensive strategy, was rely on a disconnect and then simply take your numbers advantage. You know, it's very easy to account for that. But anywho, I mean, it also shaped up quite well in Cloud9's favor. Now, it's very difficult to say whether Obey lost out on having somebody on the execute, if they didn't have somebody on flank watch, if there was somebody whose utility was lacking. You know, Skies has been playing an awful lot of IQ and Buck on attack so far this season, and has been favoring the IQ more than anything. You can also have Maman play on the Buck if necessary, but he's been more comfortable with the Zofia here on border, so not outside of the ordinary to see the way that Obey is sending these operators in. Now, the biggest focus for Obey is going to be able to try and take control of ventilation down below as fast as possible and flush off any play on the main wall of Armory. As you can see, the whole floor's been shot out, though, to try and counter anybody playing from below. As well, you also just heard for a second there, Retro is out of ammo on his shotgun. We've seen him do this so many times. The SMG-11 is the only weapon that he's going to have at his disposal.
And of course, it is heavily nerfed after the Grim Sky update, so not as versatile a weapon as it once was, and you might be backing yourself into a bit of a corner by putting yourself on just that SMG. All that said, though, he has been known to make it work. Benji gonna get the first kill. Mark quickly onto Benji, and Bosco shuts down Mark on the flank in CCTV. So a back and forth here, but the attackers of Obey still in the driver's seat. So they start their push onto the A wall. You could see Retro is the one to greet them. With the gas canisters, he is the perfect operator to do so. And he might be a little bit more lethal yet again with those shotgun blasts, but he can make it work at this close range with the SMG-11.
Yeah, the SMG-11 has obviously seen a decrease in its usage. I think most people are back to using it in place of the pistol that the SAS have, but I mean, the SMG-11 is still easy for you to tap and burst. Laxing from below, still trying to hold off on any push. As you can see, all those holes in the floor slotted out. He's also going to have, it did appear like Goddess was down below, but look at that, a great, Goddess actually from above, but a great toss from Bosco to take out Retro. Yikes. The smoke behind the A-bomb is gone. You still got Laxing from below, and if he's equipped with a C4, this could be a very lethal position as Obey now enters into the site. What is Laxing going to be able to do? Plant going down from Adam. No, barbed wire on Laxing means that Adam's plant will go down quite successfully, and now Obey is going to transition into the post plant.
Laxing unable to do anything whether or not he has C4 from below. Adam going to stay on top of that diffuser. Goddess will eliminate him following her one tap. Absolutely on fire right now in this round, but finally shut down by Skies, leaving Laxing in the 1 versus 2. The run out will get the repelling man though, and Skies is aware of this. He knows he needs to position himself more properly, so he will move into small office, but Laxing with the kill, and he has plenty of time. What a clutch from Laxing. Cloud9 take it 3-2 on the half.
And 2 individual efforts from both Foxe and Laxing on Bandit, no less, in order to get the final kills needed for the round to salvage it for their team, and then also get the defuse. Absolutely huge for Cloud9, and really 2 rounds salvaged not by a strategy, but by innate skill of 2 of their players. Foxe on the great read, possibly a good call on the 4th round to go in through bathroom and catch both Benji as well as Bosco, and then just then on Armory from Laxing. An extraordinary play for him once again to keep his team in it. And yeah, Cloud9 walking away with the first half on defense, largely because of luck on that first defense, but then after that, a pretty good showing.
Also have to give props to Goddess, who managed to hit a pretty nasty one tap. We didn't get to see it, but you could hear it. You could tell all the way from inside of Archives through the A wall. It's a pretty long angle, and then following it up with some good kills, leading forward in the round. But you know, a good amount of support from all of the Cloud9 players, allowing for that round to happen. Just ultimately coming down to Laxing's individual play. Also, the play from Skies, pushing into Armory. I get that he was trying to cut off his ex-teammate's rotation from the main stairs because he knew he had to come up those main stairs. There was no other option for Laxing. But I feel as though it may have been a mistake. Possibly just trying to play for a little bit more time inside of CCTV could have resulted in him getting the win. All that said, it's done now, and Cloud9 and the half again in the advantage 3-2, and they will be moving to attack now, and Obey will be going into their defense.
I mean, obviously I'm going to have to look it up, but I feel like Obey is typically a team that thrives more on attack than on defense. And I don't know how well this is going to play here in this matchup, but of course, the biggest focus of defense are those 3 C's that I mentioned: communication, coordination, and cohesion. So first defense, we're going to head downstairs to ventilation workshops. And, well, disorienting coming in with the camera around the other way. I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, that's not customs, is it? No, it's not. It's down in ventilation workshops, and that's going to be ventilation workshop rather. As there's only one. It'll be Obey's first crack at defense.
It's a big one. It's a big workshop.
It is quite a large workshop. Yeah. You could divvy it up and make multiple workshops.
I feel like, yeah, if you put a couple desks in there, plenty of space to work in that workshop. Obey. Heavy roam on the top floor. Surprise, surprise. Ventilation workshop, of course, is a very typical strategy. They've also brought a castle in order to augment their roam upstairs. Will be very useful, I'm sure. Interesting spot Adam's trying to use here. I'm not sure what the angle is actually intended to do. Oh, unfortunately, he came off of it at just the wrong moment. But it looks like it's into Archives. You just want to see the exact angle if possible. Yes. Okay, so it's on the Archives window. That's really nice. That's a clever little angle there, just in case you start getting pressured there. The cool thing about that is that the attackers are very unlikely to drone that out before they vault in through that north balcony window. So potential free kill there at any moment in time. I'm sure you'll see that one in ranked in the future.
Yeah. Same with Leon Gids' Echo spot.
Yep.
In the EU matchup on top of half wall.
Can confirm I have been seeing that a lot when I play Border.
I mean, typically in a lot of teams, especially with Mira placement and Maestro Cam placement, as we will transition just a second here into the action, you typically will see that teams and players, not necessarily in Pro League, will take their marching orders from a lot of and inspiration from a lot of the pros. Anywho, 1 minute towards the final of round number 6 here is still C9 struggling to drone out the front of Armory. You've got both Skies and Adam playing there. Skies on the smoke will drop towards the site. There's a Yokai drone as well that's positioned nearby, just down below, inside a workshop. Adam is up top, along with the Ella of Maman, who's sitting there inside of CCTV. And no, that's a Scorpion in her hand, not a spool of barbed wire. Maman will get hit with one of those concussive mines from the lifeline of Mark. Now Mark will end up getting hit with a Guzman as it's back and forth between these two members of the team. And now Retro downstairs engaged in his own fight as Laxing alongside him will take out the smoke of Skies, seeing if they can take out another from Obey, and that's Foxay being able to behead Adam. Maman and Bosco getting one apiece as Retro trades it off, meaning that it's a 2v3 in favor of C9, running out of time though, and they're going to need to get a plant off. Spotted prone on a drone will be both Benji and Maman. They're going to need to take the Yokais out, or else they're not going to be able to get a plant down. Retro will take out Maman, and Benji has the option to save it, and nobody is looking for the Yokai. A huge clutch moment from Benji. Foxay coming so close to possibly getting the kill, but no. Earlier on, the Echo stays alive, and that's enough to send us back to 3-3.
I feel as if we've been seeing this continually throughout this match. First it was for Cloud9, one person in the right spot at the right time, able to clutch it out. Now for Obey, leaving the Yokai drone in play and allowing for the last second clutch. Well played to Benji, knowing the situation and just staying inside of B, waiting for his opportunity.
And you saw the pre-fire through the wall, almost getting the kill and lighting him up. But of course, there's no hit marker notification, there's no point notification. So
actually, I don't think he did any damage because they changed those desks now. I mean, they're still bulletproof, but they extended the desk down to the floor, so there's no way to shoot your enemy through that desk any longer. That was with Grim Sky. I really like that they made that change because it means that those desks are actual tangible cover now. In the past, they were just random desks that didn't mean anything. But Benji was completely protected.
I could have sworn I heard Benji take a shot or two, and he did lose a little bit of his HP. But
I mean, maybe when he was going down to the floor, but when he was on the floor, you can see the desk, it extends all the way to the floor now as of Grim Sky and provides full cover. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think you're wrong. I would never say you're wrong.
But whatever the case, you're absolutely right about the not pursuing the kill.
And it looked like they marked him. They knew he was there, but you had 3 people alive, and you're trying to find, the shimmery robot on the ceiling above you. And now you can see even Mark is doing the same thing, looking up, trying to figure out exactly where those Yokais are, because if you can take out the Yokai early on, you find yourself in a very big advantage, and you essentially turn Echo into a fragging operator more than a support or a plant denial operator. And as you can see, plant denial is his expertise, as he was just able to win the round, even though Benji was the only member of Obey left against 3 from Cloud9.
Benji is an excellent Echo as well, just as an individual player. It's something I think he excels at. Mark trying to open up some walls of CCTV to get a long angle into the rotation between Armory and Archives. A coveted ale that has been allowed to be used here, as Obey chose not to reinforce that wall. Kind of an odd choice. Usually should have enough reinforcements to do that without hindering any other parts of the bomb site. But it's just not the case here. Cloud9, meanwhile, making their push into offices. Laxing going to be the tip of the spear. He knows there's an enemy inside a fountain. That's Skies. The nade will arc just about right. Yep, it's the down onto Skies. That was a beautiful nade from Laxing. Coordinated thanks to the drones from his teammates. And the second nade will very likely get the kill. Well placed indeed. That was practiced.
And C9, after what was a bit of a slower start, have looked to pick up the pace here on this round. Maman on this desk in Archives will now fall off, but he tossed out a C4.
Oh, no!
It'll miss! A frag grenade goes down, the wall gets blown. Maman is going to need to fight his way out, as he might have to go punch for punch. But a smoke from Bosco will at least give him the opportunity to possibly rotate That yellow color will obscure him. You'll see another grenade go down, and it's right in front
Oh,
of him!
no!
What a toss from Foxay! My man, so long, see you later. It's a 5v2. This has been flawless from C9, but Foxay shredded through from that SMG-11. Benji has been down, leaving Bosco in a 1v4, and he'll pick up another. He sees the head of Retro, and it is not long until Retro gets taken out. Instead of using his shotgun, which he is very scarce on ammo, Bosco's still going to stick with this SMG-11. Benji's still down, bleeding out at roughly half as Diffuser goes down successfully from C9. Bosco will need an ace in order to get this. But look at that. Where's the Diffuser? He could go for the plant. He's going to stick it. Does nobody from C9 know? Goddess gets the call. Bosco almost manages to pull it off, but it's from below. Goddess will get the immobile Bosco on a good call as the rest of the team opens up the floor around him. It's 4-3 for C9.
That was very spooky for a moment. Bosco, with I think the right decision in that instance, there was no way he was going to be able to kill all of his opponents and be able to disable the Diffuser. So I'm just going for it. A nice shot, though, to start things off onto the Thatcher. I have to say, you talked earlier about how a man typically makes the right decisions, and I agree. As a player, I think he's almost always on point. But that round was just something else entirely. You started with, unfortunately, the missed opportunity on the shot above the panel, and then the missed opportunity with the C4 above the panel, and then the rotation directly into a grenade. Didn't have a great time inside of B, but it happens. And now Cloud9 find themselves in the lead as a result. 4-3. Successfully attacking the Armory, which means that, yes, as you can see, it's very likely we will be going back to Armory, and here it is. Foxay also having a pretty fantastic round. He's been having a fantastic match as a whole so far.
Overall, Foxay doing quite well. So maybe the change of scenery for Foxay has been all he needed. He's down in that California lifestyle, living. Oh. It's L.A. Davide Bucci now. That's what we see. We see him channeling his inner. Who else plays from California? Hot and Knicks are both from California.
I used to, way back in the day. There actually aren't a lot of West Coast players. It's a kind of a limited breed, and I mean that's why when Pro League used to be played on the East Coast servers, all of the West Coast players had 150 ping.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah, it was.
That must be fun to play on.
It was atrocious, but that's all in the past now. We play in Central.
Central is much preferred in terms of ping and connectivity between
it's just
these
fair.
players. But I think more than anything, it's not even necessarily ping for the West Coast players. It's probably time. A lot of times
that as well,
we go live at 5 p.m. on the Pacific. And that could possibly mean that a lot of West Coast players who would possibly be able to compete just simply can't. But so credit to those West Coast players who are indeed playing. I know there's a lot more than just Knicks and Hot and Cold.
There are. I mean, there's more than there used to be.
Gurmy used to be from California. Well, I mean, he's still in California. He's not in Pro League anymore, for example. I know there's likely a number. Anywho, and of course, don't forget he's not a player, but Tristan, Ranger from Rogue, from Washington. Not. Didn't want to say Seattle. He's from Washington.
The one on the West Coast.
The West Coast Washington. Anywho, so maybe that's what's imbued at Davide Bucci.
Here comes a nade.
Onto Sandwich from Laxing, and I won't find anything. They do have an ADS available from Adam, and that's a smart change for Obey here running the Jaeger.
Look at where that nade landed, though. It was on the corner of Sandwich, right next to Bosco. He wasn't in that position at the time when the nade landed. I love these nades from Laxing. They are so clearly practiced. Like he went into a custom game for hours and hours and hours and just threw nades. And Foxay seems to be the same way. Nice nade onto my man. These are being thrown surgically, and they are giving C9 a distinct advantage. One thing I think that people in the future are going to note when playing against C9 is that you need to ban Thatcher and bring a Jaeger, because otherwise the nades will find you.
You've got the Thatcher on Retro now instead of Laxing. As I said earlier on, Laxing was typically being caught on the Thatcher a lot of times, but no, he's channeling his inner man, his inner Skies, and his inner BC running the buck pick.
Doing it all.
Now downstairs trying to figure out if he can determine the location of this pulse of Skies, but hasn't been able to completely figure out the location. Skies playing behind the servers all the way at the back over by the grinder machine. And look at that, he's going to pop right up, and Laxing just doesn't know, and he's going to pay for it. Now, Foxay on rappel from above, holding this angle in towards the doorway. He's got Retro nearby. Foxay's going to hit the deck and have to rotate. This could be a very easy lockout for Obey, as they're going to add to their tally with Adam picking off Goddess. Mark's going to vault in right through the window. He has ample opportunity to go for a plant. He'll take some damage from the Carbine of Jaeger before finishing him off. But Skies and Benji are there, and Mark is last man standing, as the Yokai drone still from above. He'll get downed. No opportunity to withstand, as Bosco will finish that off, and we are back to being tied up 4-4.
This has been a very much a back and forth. We've only had a session of 2 rounds in a row for Cloud9 in the first half. Other than that, it's just been completely back and forth.
Yeah, and I mean, these teams have not been able to shake each other. Let's also keep in mind that this is a matchup with big expectations for both of these teams, but also there's consequences to these teams not winning here. These are the 8th and 7th place teams. If there were relegations right now, Cloud9 would be faced against one of the teams from NA Challenger League, and Obey would no longer be in Pro League.
Yep.
Getting 1 point here is not good for either of these teams, because you don't gain any ground on the people ahead of you. You need to walk away. One of these teams needs to walk away with a win to breathe easier.
And yet, it definitely seems like we're going towards a draw right now.
It does.
This very much feeling like draw territory. I'm not seeing either team blowing past the other right now, getting 2 in a row and securing it. It feels like a 5-5. It already does. It feels very similar to Mouse SK, what we just witnessed, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happens. So that's not good for either of them. Like you said, it's in fact very bad for both of them.
Well, no matter what, we're going to need all 10 rounds to get through this, because you're going to have match point next, and then you're going to go down to that 10th round, and it's So we're going to go the full distance. Whether a team walks away with 3 of the 3 points, or whether both teams walk away with 1 is really remains to be seen. But I think you're right. There has been a very strong back and forth between these teams, as 1 or 2 mistakes are made at the start, and then it's just pounced upon by the opposition.
So whoever wins this round will be the ones put in a position where they need to secure the second one. And whoever loses this round, their mentality is going to probably immediately shift from we need to win this, we need to win this, we need to win this, to we need to prevent them from winning this. We need to prevent them from getting the full 3 points so we can still recover. That is going to be the biggest focus of whoever loses this round right now. All that said, Cloud9 starting things off with a clear into offices. And then following that, of course, they will push archives, which they already know to be clear thanks to the great drone work from Mark. Once they have gotten control of archives, ooh, was that a C4? Okay, C4 was meant to kill, but at least it got rid of the thermite charge. Or impact rather, from Bosco, not a C4. Well done to Bosco in denying that utility. And it will slow down the C9 push quite a lot. You can see they're actually now worried about any vertical play from their opponents. It's sometimes hard to tell whether it's a C4 or an impact if you're above and you don't get to hear the full explosion.
Yeah, I mean, there are teams that will use C4s, and I think that depending on the amount of C4 that you have on defense, that can be very worthwhile. Surprised that Laxing wasn't able to walk away with a kill there. It did look like he was going to be able to land all those shots onto the main stairs, but Obey will be gifted an opportunity to stay alive, as Adam is the drone whisperer right now as he corrals 2 of them towards him and manages to take them out. I think Foxy trying to find the lesion from below as he'll sledge away at the floor. Bosco getting a couple shots into Foxy, but very limited damage being done. This is just trying to keep a member of Obey away, maybe so that Goddess can begin to push alongside Mark here. But Skies will get the leadoff kill. He'd been hurt earlier on, but he'll take out Laxing. That's former Team Revenge. You can see the wall in front of Mark has been opened up, so that's both exothermic charges being used. Goddess will get a kill on Disguises. That's no opportunity for the smoke to be able to get back up. Great play from Adam here as he holds a wonderful angle through the window in small office, and Fox 8 could meet the same fate if the call isn't done correctly. He'll get pinged away, but no! Adam misses ever so slightly. Foxay will now need to retreat himself, and he'll be faced with a castle barricade. Goddess down from below means that Foxay is the only person for C9 that is currently mobile. And there's my man who will miss most of his shots. Bandit has been a very significant operator for both Laxing and Foxay, but can it be the same for my man? Yes, it can. Fox A tries to vault in through the window in Customs and does not get very far, as the MP7 will find him on the other side of it, but pulls out the pistol instead and gets the final kill.
Thanks to that impact grenade earlier in the round, Cloud9 were unable to get past Archives. They struggled when pushing into Arsenal, which forced them to rotate, and all the while they were getting torn apart by the Obey Alliance defense. Massive props for that round going to the Legion. Now, this is the moment of truth. Cloud9 are now going to be attacking onto Customs Inspection, which is a site we have yet to see played on this map. So, a major jump after Obey were able to win the last 2 rounds on Armory defense and Ventilation defense. They have to go to a third site now. They don't have a choice. And this is the opportunity for Cloud9 to draw it. And that's why we were talking about how it's likely we are going to see a draw as Cloud9 have an advantage moving to this round. However, it's a bit of a double-edged sword as they have yet to attack this round, or this actual site, which means they don't know how Obey is going to set it up. They have no prior round experience with this, which means it could work its way in Obey Alliance's favor. It's less likely that that is going to overpower the fact that this is a Customs defense.
Right. No Mira makes Customs a little bit harder for the defenders. I think that's worth noting as well.
True. Very true.
A big reason why we saw Customs have a huge uptick in play rate was because of the Mira play. A lot of times pioneered by the team now that's known as G2. The time was known as Penta.
I would argue it's the only reason we started CZTV seeing play. However, I will state, Obey is, instead, they are supplementing it with the Maestro cameras. One being placed in Armory and opening up the Armory wall gives you the same information on the west balcony. As you can see, it's been set up right there, and you can see the wall just to its south is opened up, as well as Bosco still playing aggressively on what would be a typical Mira position.
It sounds like the detention wall also blew open from the exothermic charge. If we could just also check there for 1 second downstairs inside of jail. Yes, it was. So one of the exothermic charges have gone off to open up detention, or jail as a lot of teams will call it. Its official title is detention. Most teams just call it jail just because it's faster. So that's got us using one of those 2 charges to make it so that Obey need to be more wary of an advance from Cloud9. Keep in mind that we are only 2 minutes away from the conclusion of this matchup. Does a draw await us, or will we see one of these teams walk away with all 3 points? The only team that could would be Obey, as they're sitting on match point for the time being.
Both teams seem keen on keeping us in suspense, as this has been a very slow round thus far. Cloud9 have opened up the jail wall, but they're not doing anything with it. They're instead using it as a distraction so they could focus their efforts on Passport and the B wall, which is a powerful play to make, and one that I think is typical of most teams. Finally has been opened up, but not in the default corner because the batteries weren't destroyed. And that's going to put Cloud9 in a very difficult spot, especially confusing considering there's a Thatcher in play.
So Skies has moved all the way up to detention, just watching through the open hole that's been created by Goddess ages ago. Still got both the Yokai drones in play as well from Benji, who's situated up an Armory desk in that small office over top of the hatch. And he can rotate whenever. He does hold the shotgun for Echo, the Supernova, so he can possibly escape if he needs to. Possibly pulls out the shotgun, but is going to take an engagement rather than try and scamper off. Mark takes out Adam. Bosco is there to take out Retro, so one team will lose 1 apiece. The man on the main stairs eliminating Fox A means that Obey has the lead on match point. This bodes well for them. Laxing surveys up top in CCTV, and he sees all the open walls below him, just outside of Customs. But the defense for the time being of Laxing just out of reach. The call comes out as Goddess will need to rotate. Mark as well up top, and a cooked grenade from Laxing will go down. It'll blow open some of the wall, but there's nobody from Obey playing in that position. I think C9 appears to be a bit flummoxed as to where the defense are positioned. There'll be a ping from Laxing with just 10 seconds to go as Goddess tries to get towards the site. Bosco will get a kill onto her. Mark now, as well as Laxing, trying to work in another kill from Bosco, but Mark will trade it off. He'll need to go for the plant, but he's going to run out of time. Doesn't even get the clock striking 0, as there's my man to get the final kill and Obey. A huge win for them. They'll pick up all 3 points.
And they definitely did need that. Cloud9, on the other hand, did as well. So it's going to be a really difficult spot for them at the watering hole after that loss. Obey feeling very good, I'm sure. 6-4, a well-earned victory. That last round, I think flummoxed is the right word for Cloud9. They seemed a little bit confused. They just didn't know where they wanted to push.